So you have no idea how to play Genshin Impact, which is okay. We're going to be answering the very basic questions for new players and returning players for Genshin Impact. And everything we talk about in this video, we're going to be answering 3 important questions. What it is, why it's important, and how to increase it. And while this guide is covering the most basic information on the game, if you're looking for more in-depth and unique strategies for Genshin Impact, like which Battlepass weapons are good still in 2025, the Lantern Right characters, which one you should be picking up, check out the new player guide list down below. That's going to be updated as well. If you want to see something specific, a tailor-made guide, such as maybe the elemental combat system or even starter teams, let me know that down below and I'll get those out to you guys as well. Now, the first thing we're going to be talking about in this video is going to be the very important adventure rank. Now, number one, what this thing does is the adventure rank is going to influence the different difficulties as well as the rewards you get from all of the different things you can acquire in Genshin Impact in the open world. So this is going to influence the different monster difficulty that you see out in the open world. It's going to increase the level of those enemies as well as the rewards given to you by those enemies. It's also going to influence the different rewards as well as levels that you can attempt in the different domains in Genshin Impact. So you can gain higher level rewards at higher adventure rank levels, but the domains themselves will also become more difficult. In essence, basically your adventure rank is going to be able to dictate this thing called your world level, which if you're confused on it, you can always check this little detailed menu out to see exactly which adventure rank level is going to put you at which world level. At level 20 onwards, you're going to gain an additional world level every 5 adventure rank levels. And if you find things too difficult for you to do on solo in these higher difficulty levels, you can always lower your world level temporarily so you can get back out there and have fun playing Genshin Impact. And now that you know what this is, how are you going to level it up? Well, there's tons of ways to level up your adventure rank in Genshin Impact. One of the most notable ways is going to be from different quests you can accomplish. You're going to be able to see that you gain adventure EXP from a bunch of different quests, as well as just adventuring in Genshin Impact, such as opening up treasure chests. And one thing you should be doing every single day are your daily commission quests from Catherine. And after you do all 4 of your different daily quests, go back to the commissioner at the Adventurer Daily Guild, which is going to be Catherine most of the time, and turn them in so you can get additional rewards, which is going to be even further increases to adventure EXP, as well as companion EXP, a little bit of more Primogems, and an adventurer treasure pack. But in addition to those rewards, there's another thing that you can gain access to from Catherine, which is very important when you turn in your daily quests. This is going to be the ability to unlock story quests eventually. Each of these story quests are going to take this key, and you can complete 8 daily missions to receive 1 key. You can hold 3 keys at a time, and you will use these to unlock different story missions for different characters, or even the different hangout events for different characters as well. And these quests are going to reward you with more rewards such as Primogems and other items, and these are specifically locked behind these keys. And the only way to gain access to these keys is to make sure that you turn in your daily commission rewards to Catherine. If you miss out on that, you're missing out on the keys as well as the different content locked behind these keys and the rewards as well. And as you're adventuring through Genshin Impact, you will see the Statue of the Seven, and they are used for multiple things. Not only are they teleport spots and places to heal your characters for free, but using these different statues, you will also be able to access different rewards. You're going to be able to find items called the Oculuses, and each of the regions are going to have their own Oculuses, which you will turn into the statue to level up your statue level and gain rewards from them as well. And then in addition to this, when you're using the main character, the Traveler, you can also change the different aspect of their element when you see a new statue. The statues in Mondstadt, for instance, will allow you to transform the Traveler with the power of Anemo, whereas the statues down in Liyue will be access to Geo. Inazuma here will be access to Electro, whereas Sumeru statues will give you the power of Dendro. And when you need to swap elements for the Traveler, you're going to need to have them in the party and talk to the statue with them. This will unlock a new option for you, which will be resonate with a certain element. You'll be able to select that, a cutscene will play, and the Traveler will now have the element of that statue. But the statues alone aren't the only areas that are going to reward you for finding items in the world and giving them to the statues. For instance, in Inazuma, we have the Grand Narukami Shrine for the Sacred Sakura Tree, whereas Dragonspine here has the Frost-Bearing Tree. Even though they're not named shrines, they work exactly like the shrines, in which they will give you rewards based on the different offering levels that you're able to reach by giving them well offerings. And these rewards are pretty nice, so when you're playing Genshin Impact, make sure sure you have an eye out for a couple of these things. It's always worth the time and effort to find them if you see them on your map. They look like a little star on the mini map when you see them. For instance, here's a Dendro Oculus that I found in Sumeru. And if you can't find everything right away with just your naked eyes, don't worry about it, because as you get into the game and open up crafting options, you'll be able to craft certain items that will help you find missing items in certain regions, such as the Oculuses or even just treasure chests. As you are leveling up your adventure rank, you will also be changing the world around you a small amount, especially in Leeway as well as Mondstadt. Things may change, such as new treasure chests appearing in areas that weren't there before, and this is because your adventure rank has increased and your world level has increased. And as you move and explore the different environments in Genshin Impact, don't be afraid to try out new characters that you have every once in a while. I'm in this water area, which I don't really want to swim in, so I have a character like Mona, who isn't the only one that can do this, but she can just kind of fly across the water, allowing me to pick up some of these different flowers a little bit easier than some of my other characters. Speaking of new characters, let's talk about those so you don't turn out like Mona here, penniless. Genshin's going to have multiple different banners up at the same time. There's going to be two different kinds of banners. This one will always be here. It's called the Standard Wish banner, but as new patches are presented, you will see new character event wishes be added, typically 2 at a time, sometimes with a brand new character, sometimes with the character being re-ran. The character event wish banners will always feature one singular 5-star character as the rate up character. This means that this is the character that you are intended to try to obtain. They will also be met with 3 different 4-star featured characters as well, which means that these characters have a much higher chance of success in comparison to other characters on the banner. If you're interested in the exact breakdown of all of the odds on each of the banners, you can look that information up in game yourself. But one very important thing that you need to know about these event wish banners is that they have a 90 pull pity system, which means that if you do 90 pulls and haven't gotten a 5-star yet, that 90th pull is guaranteed to be a 5-star character. However, the first to 90 is not guaranteed to be the 5-star character on the banner. However, in addition to the 90 pity system, there is also something that is dubbed the 50-50 pity system, which means that the first 5-star character you get on a character wish banner isn't guaranteed to be the one that is featured. However, the second 5-star that you get on a character wish banner is guaranteed to be the featured 5-star if you hadn't gotten the featured 5-star previously. And the final thing about these pities on the character event wish banner is that they will transfer over to the new character event wish banners. And this can be very useful, say if you're trying to get a couple of certain 4-stars on a certain character banner and don't really particularly care for the 5-stars, you could test your luck, try to get some of the 4-stars, save your pity for a new 5-star character when that event wish comes back. And one of the first things you should know about the Standard Wish banner versus the character event wish banner is that they actually take different items to pull on. The character event wish banners all take intertwined fates that look like this, whereas the standard event wish banner only takes acquaint fates that look like this. The Standard Wish banner isn't a way for you to acquire brand new characters or any specific character with great certainty, but one golden rule you do not want to break in Genshin Impact is turning your Primogems into acquaint fates. That is a big no-no. What you need to be doing is turning your Primogems into intertwined fates so you can save them and target specific characters with much higher odds of getting the characters that you want. Now, unlike what we just talked about with the character event wish banner pity, the Standard Wish banner has its own separate pity, and it only has the 90 pity for a 5-star. There is no 50-50 on banner, off banner for the Standard Wish banner. That's because the Standard Wish banner has no on banner characters. It's just made up of all of the more basic and permanent characters in Genshin Impact. Now, speaking of Primogems in Faith, let's talk about the shop real quick. The thing I want to talk about first here is going to be Paimon's Bargains, as well as the Starglitter and Stardust exchange shop. But you will be able to see that you can buy with Starglitter both intertwined as well as acquaint fates. Just like with Primogems, you should only be buying the intertwined fates. On top of that, though, another thing to think about is that on rotation, you will have a couple different characters that you can buy with your Starglitter. In general, these characters will show up a couple of times a year. So if you're looking for specific constellations to increase and gain access to certain abilities for these characters, you can pick up certain 4 stars here. On top of that, you will also have different weapons that you could buy for Master of the Starglitter as well. And these will cost 24 Starglitter per copy. And these weapons, just like the characters, will rotate out. There are a couple of different kinds of weapons to buy from here. In general, the Black Cliff series is the more desirable series of the two, as it's going to give you crit damage as well as attack buffs for eliminating certain enemies. Now, the Stardust exchange shop is going to be using your Masterless Stardust, which comes in much greater quantities than the Starglitter does. The things you're going to be wanting to buy with this all of the time this shop rotates are going to be both of the Intertwine as well as the Acquaint Fates. You can get 5 of these each time, and in addition to those, you'll also have some more you can buy as well, and you'll also be able to get some Adventuring EXP books. We also have the Battle Pass and the Blessing of the Welkin Moon as their subscription style service. You can get 3,000 Primogem equivalents for $4.99 in the US. As far as spending money for value, it's one of the 2 best things to buy. We also have access to the Battle Pass, which has the ability for you to have another subscription style service. However, do keep in mind that it also has free rewards as well, and you will need to be turning in the different daily and weekly missions as well as Battle Pass period missions, which want you to do certain things for Battle Pass EXP. The top section is going to be the free rewards, and these free rewards are going to be things to level up your characters as well as your weapons, the more to do that, as well as every once in a while some resin, which we will talk about, and a couple of Quaint Fates every now and then. And if you want to buy the actual paid version of the Battle Pass, you have the ability to buy it for the US amount of $9.99. I wouldn't look into the Gnostic Chorus version, as it's double the price and doesn't really give you that much more. There's a little name card you get and maybe something for your Serenity Pot, which we haven't even talked about. It's kind of like a house you hang out in, and some fragile resin. The one very important reward here at level 30, which is going to be the Battle Pass weapon. Now, the Battle Pass weapons we'll cover in a different video. They are very good, as they all do have crit rate. So speaking of resin, let's talk about resin really quickly, as it's a very important aspect of Genshin. If you don't know what resin is, but you've played another gacha game of some sort, it's the energy system equivalent in Genshin Impact. Unlike most other games though, Genshin doesn't really use energy for a lot of things. It actually only uses them for things called domains mostly, as well as world bosses, which we will greatly talk about in detail here. So if you open up the world map, you want to see what domains you have access to, you can click on the bottom left-hand button where it says domains only, and it will show you all of the different domains you have access to. And you will see that there's going to be 3 different kinds of domains. There's going to be weapon ascension material domains, talent level domains, as well as artifact domains. You are going to be very interested, I know, as all players are, to get the right artifact set. You've seen the content, you've watched the YouTube video, you want to get the artifact set right away. I would advise against this. Artifacts are very resin hungry, very resin dependent, and it is a lot of RNG to get the correct set with the correct stats, especially at the start of the game. And that's going to be compounded because at the start of the game, you're not even going to be able to get access to the 5-star artifacts for different sets right away. You're just going to be wasting resin going after artifacts at the beginning of your Genshin Impact journey. Save that for later, and spending resin on talent as well as weapon ascension materials is all well and good, but the main thing you should be spending resin on early on in Genshin Impact is going to be the different items you need to actually level up your characters. And this is going to come from various world bosses here. If you go to ascend a character, you can see the different items that they need. The different gems are going to come from different world bosses, and this purple item will also come from specific world bosses as well. As you can see, this is dropped by a level 30 plus Hypostasis. If I didn't know where that was, I could click on the button. It will bring me to the boss inside of the Adventurer's Journal, which is something that you can also use, and you'll be able to click the navigate button and it will showcase exactly where that boss is if you have access to that area. And not only are these different world bosses going to drop the items that you need to level up your character, but it's also going to drop different artifacts. And while these artifacts might not be the sets that you desire and you want, you're going to be able to level up your characters and get good gear for them at the same time. time. And so I would recommend highly that you spend most of your resin early game fighting the different world bosses that you need to level up your characters, and then gear them out with the different artifacts that you acquire either from the bosses themselves or from different quest rewards, mission rewards, and well, also drops from different enemies. So as far as resin priority, I would do these different world bosses, and then also time after time, don't forget to go to the different domains to get your weapon ascension materials as well as your talent level materials for the characters that you enjoy working on. And I would avoid the different artifact domains at all costs, especially at least until you can get 5-star artifacts. And speaking of leveling up characters' talents, eventually your characters are going to need a very special legendary item which drops from a weekly world boss. As the name suggests, this boss is available for you to challenge, defeat, and claim rewards from 1 time per week. And then on top of that, you're also going to eventually get an even rarer mat called the Crown of Insight. Traditionally, these are going to only come from certain different Genshin Impact events, and these are very, very rare, but fortunately they are only used to cap out a talent level to talent level 10. Each talent is going to need one of these crowns on its 10th level, meaning if you want to take a character and maximize all 3 of their skills that they have access to, you will need 3 different crowns, 1 for each of these skills. Now, there are a couple different things I want to talk about as we finish this up that are very important. Genshin Impact is going to have events from time to time, and these are going to have more rewards than just the crown talent as a great reward. A lot of the times we'll have a free 4-star weapon or a free 4-star character for you to pick up in case you want that character but don't want to pull on them. For example, Sumeru had an event with Yao Yao being available during the Leeway Lantern Rite Festival. I didn't have to pull on the banner, I gained access to her. You also have a couple other characters that you can gain access to for free that are very, very significant. For example, not only was Yao Yao free on this account, but Coley was free, as well as everyone's favorite pyro character, Xing Ling. Look into the Spiral Abyss. You'll be able to get some nice characters from that for free. It shouldn't be too hard for you to climb after a couple of weeks of playing at least the initial Spiral Abyss. And speaking of free rewards in the Spiral Abyss, once you have access to the Spiral Abyss, it will be a thing that you're going to want to return to once every reset. The first 8 floors will not reset and are vastly easier in difficulty than the final 4 floors. And unlike the first 8 floors, the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th floor do have a periodic reset time where the rewards will be able to be claimed again if you go back in and defeat the enemy. And the enemies are not always the same. You'll be able to get in here and claim and gain access to, once again, Mora, as well as ascension materials for your character and your weapons, and also some additional artifacts, both 4 and 5-star as well. So now you're armed with the information you need to understand what's going on in Genshin. Have fun out there and tell me what you're doing down below.